Hi guys, today's revision video is going to be on multinational companies, otherwise known as MNCs. This relates to Pearson's IGCSE Business Studies course. So what is a multinational organisation? So we see them every day when we're walking through shopping malls, walking through the high streets, but a multinational company is a business that has operations or stores in more than one country. So one of the most popular examples used for a multinational company would be McDonald's, as McDonald's have around about 35,000 stores in over 100 countries worldwide. So in your exam, you might be asked to discuss maybe some of the benefits of being a multinational organisation. You may also be asked questions about what are some of the benefits and drawbacks of multinationals to the countries that they actually operate in. So starting with the benefits of being a multinational organisation, the first benefit is that your risk as a company is decreased, because if you fail in one country, you may succeed in other countries that you operate in. Another key benefit is your revenue is likely to increase. This is because you're more likely to make more sales in more countries. So with revenue potentially increasing, you may also see increased levels of profits. One of the key benefits of being a multinational company is that you're going to have a wider target market and a wider consumer base. This is because you're in more markets, you're serving more customers, and you increase the amount of sales that you're making. It also may decrease costs, so the countries that a multinational decides to locate themselves in, they may have cheaper raw materials that can be used to manufacture and sell goods, and also things like labour. So things like the minimum wage may be lower in some countries than other countries, so they could also maybe cut their staffing costs as well. Thinking about it from the host country's perspective, what are some of the benefits and drawbacks of multinationals? Well, the first one is that multinationals create jobs. So think of car manufacturers such as Toyota and Honda. When they locate to countries in Southeast Asia, they are creating jobs for engineers and people who construct their cars, and that is increasing incomes and salaries in those local areas and countries that they are setting up in. Another benefit to the host country would be that government taxation increases. Remember that those multinationals may be paying VAT on every sale that they're making. They may be paying corporation tax, which is a tax on profits. They may also be taxing their workers. So the government are able to use this increase in tax revenue and spend it on things, for example, like transports, highways, schools, and hospitals. However, some of the downsides are that it may increase competition, particularly for small local businesses. So if a large multinational, for example, like Starbucks, opens next to your coffee shop, that's likely to put a lot of competition on your business. In turn, that might actually result in some local businesses becoming bankrupt and closing down, which could also result in unemployment. And the last one, some multinationals in the past, particularly secondary multinationals that are involved in production and manufacturing, that's actually resulted in some form of environmental damage, whether that's pollution or waste entering into local rivers and things like that. So multinationals do cause some damage to the host countries that they set up in. So building on that, so let's look at some of the impacts, both positive and negative, that multinationals have on host countries. So first one, I just previously mentioned it there, pollution and damage to the environment. So that picture illustrates it really well. Okay, the Amazon rainforest has been used for things like cattle ranching. It's used by oil companies such as Esso, and unfortunately those multinationals have caused a great deal of pollution and damage to the environment. Next one, so competition for domestic firms. So if you're a domestic firm, you're likely to be put under a lot more competition from these multinationals who may offer a greater choice of products, they may offer better quality products, and they may also offer cheaper products. Next one, multinationals may contribute to a country's tax revenue, okay, and the government may wish to spend that tax on improving things like infrastructure. Alternatively, the multinational itself may also fund the development of infrastructure, so they may build roads to improve transport, they may improve things like shipping and invest in things like ports. Consumers likely to benefit from multinationals, okay, as shown in that picture there. Okay, so when companies like Nike, Adidas, come into your country, you're likely to gain access to a greater choice of trainers or a greater choice of products. Next one, it creates jobs for native workers. Okay, so like what I was mentioning earlier, you may have like a car manufacturer come to your country, and that car manufacturer is going to demand engineers and workers to work in that factory, creating jobs for native workers. In hiring these workers, they may also receive qualifications and training, which is also going to help them improve their skill level. So just to finish with here, let's have a look at some of the advantages and disadvantages of being a multinational. So the first advantage is that your raw material costs may decrease in countries where goods and labour is cheaper, okay, and in turn that may lower a multinational's costs, okay, in turn increasing profits. Staff costs may decrease because there may be lower minimum wages within that country. The size of the target market will grow as they're in a greater number of international markets and they're able to reach more customers. Revenue is likely to increase as well, and risk is reduced, as if you fail in one market, you may succeed in several others. What are some of the disadvantages of being a multinational? Well, the first one is you may have to change your products and services due to cultural differences, and we'll touch upon that in the next slides. Okay, for some companies this may result in them having to drastically change their products, which if they were to do that, they may end up losing their unique selling point, and they may end up losing what makes their product popular in the first place. Another major disadvantage would be that sometimes mistakes are made due to communication errors between languages. Okay, so this is often seen in things like marketing material. It's often results in emails being misinterpreted, instructions and commands being misinterpreted, and this may damage the reputation of the brand. Okay, it could also result in costly errors, as you may have to change marketing material, or you may actually have to change a product. And the last one, not all multinationals act ethically, so they may contribute towards negative factors such as pollution and damage to the environment, but also maybe things such as sweatshops, okay, and hiring child labour. So the last thing that I want to mention is when moving into a new market, multinationals may have to change their marketing mix. And these are some of the factors that they may have to consider when thinking about maybe altering their products, price, place, and promotion. So first factor is religious differences that may impact on the type of media that you're using in your promotion. For example, there may be a demand and a desire to have more conservative forms of promotion within that country. It may also impact upon the product as well. For example, consumers demanding things like halal meat. Another factor could be the cost of importing and shipping. So countries which have high import tariffs, that's likely to increase the costs of importing the products, and in turn that might affect the price, okay? Because if you're having to spend a lot of money on importing your products to that country, then you're going to have to maybe increase your price. Staffing costs, okay, this can work both ways. In some countries there may be a lower minimum wage, therefore we can reduce staffing costs, which in turn could increase profits. However, if we're going to maybe go to some more economically developed countries, then we're likely to have higher staffing costs. Cultural differences. So McDonald's is a great example of this. McDonald's may have to adapt their menu if they're going into a new market, and we see this in the various different offerings that McDonald's offers around the world, and how they change their products to adapt to those culturally different markets. And the last one is trends and fashions. Okay, so the trends and fashions in one market may be very different to the trends and fashions in another market. Okay, so just thinking about coffee in Southeast Asia, the climate and consumers tend to favour iced coffee, whereas in Europe there's more of a demand for hotter forms of coffee and hot drinks. So if that video was helpful, please click the like, please click subscribe, as that would really help the channel out. But that is multinational organisations.